The armor is definitely one of Star Wars' most mysterious and, morally ambiguous and just overall creepiest character. Everything's been kept extremely vague about their motivations, their identity, basically literally everything. And many have many theories to their motivations, their identity, because of the evidence being suggested throughout the seasons of Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett. In this video, I'll be going over the theory that the armor is affiliated secretly with the Imperial Remnant. This theory has a lot of holes, but it could be plausible, even how unlikely it could be. Though it is something I can imagine Jon Favreau doing with the story, but it just seems so unlikely because the armor is so embedded with the Mandalorian culture and all that stuff. Why would they actively be against it? Unless maybe it's just all one big deception from the start. But anyway, starting off, one reason that could suggest that the Mandalorian armor is in fact Imperial Remnant affiliated is the names of the episodes. Throughout Season 3, all of the episodes have many double meanings. For example, the Apostate represents Din Djarin and Bo-Katan, how they're both being kicked out of their creeds and their tribes. Chapter 19, the Convert, represents Dr. Pershing, how he's been converted to the New Republic ideology, and Bo-Katan has been converted into the creed of the Children of the Watch. The Foundling, representing Paz Vizsla's son, and also how Grogu was a foundling in the Jedi Order. Guns for Hire, representing the Night Owls and how they're now a group of mercenaries that can be hired as guns for who pays enough. And also how Bo and Din are now being hired by Jack Black and Lizzo to get Christopher Lloyd. Okay, that's a bit weird, but anyway. Now, Chapter 7, titled The Spies, oddly only has one prevalent of the two meanings. Now, the obvious spy at the start is Elia Kane, as she is a spy for the New Republic, but there's not really a double meaning that is obvious because we'll only get one spy. It's also titled The Spies, meaning that there's more than one spy in this episode definitely, suggesting that one of the Mandalorians is an ally to the Empire. Because halfway through the episode, when they get ambushed by the Stormtroopers in the Mandalorian mines, how did the Stormtroopers know to find them there? Does this mean there's a spy who's told the Imperial remnants where to find the Mandalorians? It's all just very, very confusing, and we will not get answers till next Wednesday when the next episode comes out. In this episode, while exploring Mandalore, the armor chooses to head back to the ship instead of going with the others into the mines. Is this possible because they know what's coming, or is it just because they're actually wanting to help out the injured? It's very contrived and it's very unlikely this is the case, but there's always a slight chance this is what's happening. Another piece of evidence pointing towards it is the horns in their helmet. This could suggest that they were loyal to Darth Maul when Darth Maul took over Death Watch and held the Darksaber, but it also just suggests that because Moff Gideon also has the spikes in his helmet, these are the only two Mandalorians in the season that have this type of helmet. This could be to suggest that they are in league with each other and on the same team, because it must be a deliberate choice to have the armor have the spikes on the helmet. Also, it could be some signaling to get fans to kind of work out by themselves that the Mandalorian armor is not what she seems. Another piece of evidence is overall they're a bit fucking shady, They've got a weird personality. They're a bit shady, okay? They're a bit mysterious. They've got that creepy ass voice. Is that because they're evil? I don't know. Maybe that's just me being a bit mean and using looks and appearances. I don't know. They're creepy as hell, okay? The weird aspect of the armor is their sudden change of heart when it comes to the traditions of the Mandalorians. Out of nowhere, after kicking Dent out for looking at his child one last time before he left him, which is kind of fucking insane, compared to Bo, who she actively lets take off their helmet. This weird sudden change of heart when it comes to traditions could be because they've had a sudden change in plans or a sudden change in allegiance, where they no longer are looking out for the Mandalorian culture, but more for the Imperial control. Because this sudden change of heart when it comes to the culture and traditions is kind of out of character. But maybe it's not a plot contrivance and more a deliberate choice to hint at the armor's true intentions and allegiances. Maybe she's starting bending the rules to try and lure the Mandalorians into a trap, as to please her benefactor, Moff Gideon. Another aspect of her helmet, which is similar to something, is that her helmet is similar to the Stormtroopers scene in episode 7 of The Mandalorian for the first time. The eyes are kind of circular, kind of not oval, what's that? I don't remember the shape. Kind of oval shaped, and they come down all the way to the bottom of the helmet. Similar to the troopers, their helmets have kind of circular shaped eyes with a line that goes all the way down to the bottom of their helmet. And it makes them kind of look more angry. I can't describe it. Like, the other Mandalorians have very straight lines, except, the Night Owls, some of them have the same kind of helmet, but most have a very straight line and a straight line down to the bottom. This could also be to suggest where her allegiance lies. Though there are some holes in this theory, such as just so many times where it would not make sense for the Mandalorian armor to be against the Mandalorians. Like, throughout Season 1 and 2, and especially the Book of Boba Fett, they seem very rooted with the codes and traditions of the Mandalorian Creed. The holes are that it's also a teeny bit too obvious, as the armor is literally a thumbnail for the episode called The Spies. This may be a bit too much. Jon Favreau could be trying to hint that it's the armor, but then go crazy Ivan and turn it round, because everyone's been looking towards the armor's mistakes, they've not been paying attention to someone else's. The spies could also be those random fucks they met in the Mandalorian wasteland, because they kind of came out of nowhere, and like they could easily just be Imperial scouts set out to find any Mandalorian settlers. I'm not too sure about them though, because they seem a bit too roughed up to be Imperial, and overall, just I don't know. It seems very unlikely. But someone's going to be a spy in this episode. Doesn't really know who. It's definitely Bo-Katan, because Bo-Katan is so anti-Imperial that it's blatantly obvious. Not Din, because Din, we've seen Din, we're literally following Din. Din's kind of the protagonist. It's not Grogu, because he's got the brain of a literal mole rat child. It's not Paz, because Paz had his shit rocked by the stormtroopers, so it might just be one of the side characters, or the leader of the Night Owls. How did I forget his name? The guy that's in charge of the Night Owls after Bo-Katan left. It could be someone like that. But overall, I'm not too sure, because it seems unlikely all sides. But someone has to be the spy, which is most of the evidence points towards it being the armor. But anyway, yeah, what are your thoughts on this? Does it make any sense, or is this all just kind of me talking bullshit?